Hey everybody, my name is Peter. I'm from Last Call Catering and Cantina Bar, and today I'm going to be showing you how I make my famous Cubano sandwiches. The Cubano sandwich, I first tried it when I was in Cuba, and it's an amazing sandwich. It's a simple sandwich, great history to it. It started off as a very blue-collar kind of sandwich for the workers. It was a kind of a cheaply made idea of it, fast, hearty. And then from there, it just took off. And now it's an iconic association with Cuba. And I first tried it when I went to Cuba years and years ago. And then when I went back, I had it again in Miami. And in Miami, in Little Havana, it was just amazing. It was such a good, the pork shoulder, the ham, the cheese, it was delicious. So here I have the setup for you guys. And I'm going to show you how I do it. First, you want to make sure you have nice French baguette, crunchy, not too hard. Like a ciabatta would be too hard. So you want like a crunchy on the outside, soft in the middle. You want to just cut it all the way through. Be careful with your hands. And set that aside. And the meat I use is a pork shoulder. I marinate it overnight in it's called a mojo. I'm not going to tell you this recipe because this is my recipe and I love it. But I am going to show you guys that it's a very citrusy based mojo. You can find it anywhere. And I've tried numerous different ones over the years and they're all pretty good. This one is mine and I love it and I worked really hard on it and I think you guys are going to like it too. So you got the pork shoulder, you let it marinate overnight and then you cook it in the morning. You start off at a high heat. Depending on the size, you go 425 for an hour and a half covered. Then you reduce the heat to 350 in the oven and let that sit for about another 2 hours or so, 2.5 hours, again, depending on the size of the pork shoulder. And then from there, you're gonna let it sit and you're gonna have it resting while you grab the other ingredients. And for the Cubano sandwich, traditionally, you're gonna have pickles, you're gonna have mustard, you're gonna have cheese, and you're gonna have ham. So I'm gonna put this all together for you guys, and then I'm gonna grill it up in the panini press or the sandwich press. If you don't have one, I'll tell you about that in a second once I get to it, because there's a cool trick that you can do if you do not have this at home. So don't worry about it. But first thing you want to do is you want to get your mustard. Now, traditionally it was just regular mustard. I use the bold and spicy because I like to have the extra kick to it. But you don't have to do it. You can just, any mustard you want is good. Dijon mustard, I find, doesn't really go with it. But if you like it, you can use it. You want to have a nice even covering. And what that does is the vinegar in the mustard adds just flavor to the meat, to the cheese. And there you go. So while that is all done, I'm now going to I'm going to get this ready to go so we're not waiting. Okay, so that's warming up. And next thing you know, you're going to have to put this in the order that I do it. So you're going to have the pork shoulder. Then you're going to have the ham. Again, the ham they used was the Black Forest ham or the spiral ham. I use prosciutto cotto because I think it just adds that little bit extra to it that I like. I've had these over the years, like everywhere I've had these. I had these here in Canada. I had these all the way up in Miami, and I had these in Cuba. And so different kinds of hams, different kind of pickles, different kinds of everything. And I find that prosciutto cotto is a nice blend that I like. And same with the cheese. The cheese, traditionally was Swiss cheese what they started off with. I like to use the provolone or mozzarella. I find it melts better. And for the pickles, nice crunchy pickle is always good. I wouldn't recommend, unless you really like it, I wouldn't recommend something with too much flavor, like no garlicky flavor, no spice flavor. You can use it if you want. It's up to you guys, whatever you guys prefer. But I prefer to have it just kind of plain. I want to taste the pickle. And then you're going to lay that over over the meat. Keep that one on the side for myself later. And then you got the provolone cheese here. So in Miami, when I had this in Miami, it was in Little Havana. It came with a little coffee that was so. It was funny because I love coffee. Everyone knows me, knows that I love coffee, and I had an espresso. I didn't know that there's an even stronger version of a Cuban coffee called the Cubano coffee that is like rocket fuel. Highly recommend it if you're ever down there. Try it. You guys will love it. So now that this is all set to go, you have the pork shoulder, you have the ham, you have the pickles, and you have the cheese. You're going to cover it with the other part of the bread, and you're going to take the butter, and you're just going to go right on the outside. This doesn't have to be super neat, because what you're doing, you're going to grill it up. And what you want to do is you want to heat it all together. Now, if you have a chance to do, I don't have the equipment here, but if you have a chance to do is when you grab the meat and the pork shoulder together, you could put it in a pan for a couple minutes to warm it up again, and it just makes it blend together. It's a good flavor booster, but if you don't have it, you don't have it, it's all good. So here I'm using my nice little grill, and what you're looking for is you want to have the sizzle of the butter, you want to have the meat start getting warmed up, the cheese start melting. It won't take too long depending on how long you have it. You just want to make sure you don't burn it, and you don't have to flip it afterwards. So probably another like 10 seconds, and then it'll be good to go. Once it's done, I'm going to show you guys what I pair it with. Pretty much anything you want. I'm not really big fan of like, it has to be this or that. Whatever makes you happy, pair with that. But I do like a nice red wine with this. And it's going to be hot. So what you want is the cheese to be melted, nice and golden and slippery. Sorry about that one, but it happens. And there you go with that one. That's how Cubano comes out. I'm going to have my plate here. And I'm going to cut this up for you guys. And like I was saying, you want to pair a nice red wine. I like to use a Malbec. It has a nice spice to it, full-bodied. And there you go. So this is my famous Cubano sandwich. I hope you guys enjoy it. Cheers.